It's time to get ready for the oldest and one of the most anticipated golfing tournaments of the year, the U.S. Open. The U.S. Open has long been seen as the ultimate test of mental agility and elite skill, drawing in some of the biggest names in the sport from all over the world. This year's edition, set to take place this June, will be held at a location many consider championship material, the Los Angeles Country Club. It'll obviously bring some fantastic shows, with everything from top-class performers to nail-biting finishes. But what makes the U.S. Open one of the most anticipated golf majors? Keep an eye out for more details. On the calendar as a major since 1895, the U.S. Open is known to some as the toughest of the four majors, and many golf's greats have won this tournament. Just as the name implies, the U.S. Open is indeed an open tournament. Apparently, any amateur or pro golfer with a handicap index of 1.4 or lower can play in the U.S. Open, with about 8,000 golfers attempting to qualify. A mind-blowing record of 10,127 golfers entered the tournament at Pinehurst in 2014, and getting in is pretty simple. You just have to pay an entry fee and tee up in one of the more than 100 local qualifiers held around the country in May. The lowest qualifiers will occupy the spots not already filled by automatic qualifiers. Top pros not otherwise qualified for championships will have to go through the exact qualifying process as amateurs. But you see, the oldest golf tournament took place in 1895 and was considered a sideshow compared to the U.S. Amateur. Only 11 competitors played for the gold medal on the 9-hole course at the Newport Golf and Country Club, where 21-year-old Englishman Horace Rollins won the inaugural U.S. Open and copped the $150 prize for the 36-hole tournament. At the time, the competition was dominated mainly by Britons who had settled in the United States until someone eventually changed the tide in 1911. John J. McDermott, the Philadelphia golfer who dropped out of high school to venture into professional golf, won the U.S. Open when he was 19 years, 315 days old, and remains the youngest winner in the Open's history. McDermott won the competition again at the Buffalo Country Club the following year, so he had 2 Open titles before his 21st birthday. Now that's a spicy record. The closest anyone ever came to breaking that record was Cole Hammer back in 2015, when the 15-year-old shot a 64-68 in Dallas, becoming the youngest ever to make the cut. It'll interest you to know that no one has ever won more than 4 U.S. Opens, but 4 men are tied for 4. Americans Robert Trent Jones Jr., Scotland's Willie Anderson, Jack Nicklaus, and Ben Hogan. Tiger Woods and Hale Irwin have won 3 U.S. Opens, but Hogan went to his grave believing he had won 5. Not 4. Why? You see, the reason can be tracked back to 1942 when the USGA canceled the U.S. Open with America's involvement in World War II. But mostly, it was because the Interlachen Country Club in Minnesota, which was the host club, withdrew its participation. In response, the USGA co-sponsored another event as a substitute to raise funds for the war effort. The new event was called the Hale American National Open Golf Tournament, and it attracted the top pros and offered the most substantial prize money of the year. It functioned as the United States Open except for the name, and Hogan won by 3 strokes. Sports journalists and pros acknowledged the event as an Open, but the record books never agreed. But even at that, Hogan held on to his belief that he remained the only golfer with 5 wins at the U.S. Open. But unlike the Green Jacket of Augusta, PGA Championship's Wanamaker Trophy, or the Open's Claret Jug, the U.S. Open Trophy doesn't have a name. It is just the U.S. Open Championship Trophy. The USGA first presented the current trophy in 1947, and it holds many similarities to the first U.S. Open Trophy from 1895. Shockingly, that original trophy was burned in a fire in 1946. A permanent home for its replacement is at the Golf House Museum, located at USGA headquarters in Far Hills, New Jersey. After each event, the champion is presented with a replica of the tournament trophy to take home. But aside from the players and the tournament itself, the one thing that's hardly talked about is the venue that gets to host the U.S. Open. Although this year's edition will take place at the Los Angeles Country Club in Los Angeles, the Oakmont Country Club just outside Pittsburgh has hosted 8 U.S. Opens, which is more than any other course. The course is roundly considered the toughest test of golf in America and was built by steel industrialist and amateur golfer Henry Clay Founds in 1904. Originally designed as a par 80 course featuring more than 300 bunkers, Oakmont Country Club's greens are incredibly severe, Golf icon and native of western Pennsylvania, Arnold Palmer, once said that he could hit all 72 Oakmont greens during an Open tournament and still lose. So you can only imagine how challenging the course can be. Unlike today, when you can watch the US Open from virtually anywhere, the tournament was televised across the nation for the first time in 1954 at Baltusrol. NBC even dedicated an hour to broadcasting the final round. It was during this moment that Ed Fergal secured his one and only major with a narrow one-stroke lead over Gene Little. However, in the tournament's long list of record holders, former world number 1 Rory McIlroy commands the spotlight. The golfer set a tournament record score of 268 during his victory at Congressional in the 2012 US Open. Not only did he secure this remarkable achievement, but he also became the first golfer in history to reach a score of 17 under par in a US Open. McIlroy holds the record for the lowest score to par, matching Brooks Koepka's total of 16 under in 2017 at Erin Hills. J.D. Tucker and Francis Ouimet also have their names on the record book. Tucker set the unwanted record for the highest single-round score ever recorded in a U.S. Open during his round of 157 at Massachusetts Myopia Hunt Club in 1898, while Ouimet was the last person to win the U.S. Open on his debut as an amateur in 1913. Ouimet was referred to as the father of amateur golf the next year after winning the U.S. Amateur. But here are a few memorable moments in the US Open you just can't afford to miss. Tiger Woods at the 2000 US Open. Woods set new US Open records, holding the largest lead after 36 holes for 6 shots and 54 holes for 10 shots. He made history by becoming the first man to win a US Open by double-digit strokes below par. Woods played 22 holes without a single bogey and maintained a bogey-free streak for the final 26 holes. The 15-time major champion had 0 3-putts and managed to sink the ball with just 1 putt for 20 of his first 38 holes. Woods had 3 rounds below par, while the entire field combined for 32. His victory earned him a prize of $800,000. which added to his overall earnings of $9 million in 2000, securing his position as the PGA Tour's all-time leading money winner. Watson edges Jack in 1982 at Pebble Beach. 1982 was Tom Watson's only US Open victory, and he certainly made it count. Not only did Watson win the event, but he beat the dominant player in the game at the time and his arch-rival Jack Nicklaus in a highly dramatic fashion. Tom was leading the field when Jack went on a tear, shooting 5 consecutive birdies in the final round to tie for the lead. Watson and Nicklaus were tied going into 17 after exchanging the lead over the next few holes. It looked to everyone like Watson erred by hitting his tee shot into the deep rough on the hazardous par 3. Thinking victory, not defeat, Watson executed a spectacular chip shot for a birdie and the lead. He then proceeded to birdie the final hole for the victory, making it one of the most dramatic in US Open history. Woods' 2008 victory at Torrey Pines. Tiger Woods' US Open victory in 2008 is one moment that will never grow old. On the same day, Woods reached 500 weeks as the top-ranked golfer in the world, and he capitalized, making no mistakes to seal the championship. This saw the legend clinching his 14th major victory and moving to within 4 major titles of Nicklaus's all-time career record of 18 victories. Tiger's feat was made even more remarkable as he had undergone knee surgery immediately after the Masters earlier in April. The US Open was his first event after the procedure, and he struggled throughout the tournament with pain. In other words, he won the tournament on one knee. Woods kept his hopes of winning alive by successfully sinking a 15-foot birdie putt on the 18th hole. And this crucial shot led to a tie between him and Rocco Mediate, with the duo finishing the 4 rounds with a score of 1 under par. Mediate, aiming to become the oldest US Open winner at 45, held a 1-shot lead on the final tee, but Woods countered with a birdie. As the 18-hole playoff failed to distinguish a clear winner, sudden death commenced, but Mediate bogeyed the first extra hole. So what do you make of this year's US Open, and who do you tip for the win?